LindaBabulic, with over 25 years of experience working with people from all walks of life, from the Right Honourable Kim Campbell, first female Prime Minister of Canada, to federal inmates serving life sentences. Her mission is to move you to a place of power, perseverance, and joy. Whether hearing her on stage, reading her book as a client, you'll feel her fierce commitment to move people beyond their perceived limits so that they can have the life and business of their dreams. So to pep us up and get us going, let's give it up for Linda.
Thank you very much. Thank you. How's this? You can see me over there. I'll try to not twirl around too much. Linda, you're going to have impact. Those were golden words from my mentor, Gail Carter. I was thrilled. And then she finished her sentence. You have to decide what that impact is going to be. At the time, I was commuting to work on the bus. It was about a 40-minute ride. And this was before the iBuds and the earbuds and the phones and everything. But I still had noticed that people tended to keep to themselves. It wasn't that they were unfriendly, they just kept to themselves. So I decided that I would do an experiment on the bus. So I got on the bus, I sat next to the window, and every time somebody got on next to me, I would say, "Good morning," and I gave them a big smile. And every single person who sat next to me looked at me, gave me a big smile, and said, "Good morning." But the person that I remember most vividly was a woman who was about probably in her 70s, and she sat next to me, clutching her handbag and her gloves, and I said, "Good morning." And she looked at me, smiled a little, and nodded. Didn't say anything else. She put her head down. She looked like she was a little bit shy. But just before she got off the bus, she gently tapped my arm, looked at me, and with a great deal of effort and a really thick accent said, "Good morning." Now that surprised me, because it never occurred to me that saying good morning could be so difficult. It wasn't about the good morning though, was it? Because we often will do good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This was about the eye contact, and it was about that connection and that smile. That had impact. So then I decided, wait a second, I lost my train of thought. I love to smile. And, oh, where's my slide presentation? Oh, it's coming. Okay, there we go. Okay. I love to smile, and smiling is really important to me. We're almost there. Punchline. Often we miss, when she couldn't say good morning, we don't miss something because we think we always have it. But it's when we don't have it, we realize that we're really missing something. No, it's gotta go back. Are we on? Huh. No, we need press F something.
Or delete.
It used to be F2, F4, F something. Okay, I once had to give a presentation and the power went out. So I had no slides. So I'm going to do it without the slides. So the slide is a really cute. Oh, this is its effect. Is it gonna work?
No, I don't know.
I'm gonna go on.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. It's a really cute picture of me when I was a baby. And at that point I say, I was born with no teeth, and yet I had impact. And by the time I was 11 years old, I had beautiful, straight, white teeth, and I had a winning smile. But I lost my smile. I remember it very clearly. It was my sister's birthday. It was the 4th of July, a hot, muggy day in Sudbury. And my friends and I decided we should go down to the lake. And so off we went down to the lake, and when we got there, there was a railroad track we had to cross. And I looked around, and all the girls were at the top of the track, and all the boys were at the bottom. And for the life of me, I cannot understand, even to this day, why we decided to start throwing rocks at each other. We played dodge the rocks. Hey, it's Sudbury. Not dodge the ball, dodge rocks. Same thing, only with big rocks. Well, obviously, it didn't take long before the boys were losing. And the boy I had a crush on was at the bottom of the hill. So, I like to help people. Don't judge me. I was 11, I know. So I went down to the bottom of the hill to help him. And he had a big boulder in his hand that he was just going to throw into the side of the hill. And, it's a little slaggy and it's slippery. And I zigged just as he had the rock and he released it. He said, "Duck." And I said, "Huh?" Trajectory, right in the mouth. 3 front teeth gone. I spent that entire summer. Am I on? Oh, well, I'll go back a second. I'll finish that. Not working. I spent that entire summer healing my gums. And then I got my plate and I got my smile back just before school started. Yeah. It's not about the teeth though. It's about how you feel. So how do you feel when you smile? You feel great. It's good for you. It releases the endorphins and the oxytocins. It makes you feel good about yourself. Even if you're all alone and you smile, you will feel better about yourself. We know that it's credited with lowering stress, lowering blood pressure. In fact, they did some research that says they measured colleagues that work together, and the colleagues that smile a lot can live up to 7 years longer than their glum colleagues. So that's having an impact. So if it's that easy and it's that important, why don't we do it more often? Why don't we go around smiling all the time? Because sometimes it's not easy. We could be in pain, we could be in pain physically, emotionally. And so it forces us to smile because we know that the human brain is not that swift, eh? It can be fooled. So you can smile and your brain thinks you're happy. So it releases those endorphins and those oxytocins. And when we need it the most, when we're in pain or we're unhappy or we're stressed or things aren't working for us, we need to sort of have that little laugh and have that smile. And that makes a big difference. What I realized over the years was that experiment I did on the bus, it had a huge impact on me because it completely changed how I viewed the human connection. And it even changed my own behavior. There's with all of the things that are going on, you may be familiar with TED Talks. And Vanessa, we can't get this to work. Is it? Where do I point it? Just click it. There! Look how damn cute I was and I had no teeth. I wasn't that cute at 11 with no teeth though. Okay, next. Thank Thank you. There we go. So Vanessa Van Edwards is the founder of the Science of People. And she looked at TED Talks. And what she found was the people who smile the most in TED Talks have a higher perceived intelligence rating.
Wow.
How fun is that? Then her study went on to say, what's the difference between a real smile and a fake smile? Well, I'll tell you. You have to smile broadly enough so that your eyes squint up, which is a real challenge when you're married to a photographer because he says, smile, don't squint your eyes. It doesn't work. Then it's going to be a fake smile. The other thing that she saw was that we are contagious. So our fear is contagious, our courage is contagious, our confidence is contagious. And then she says, I beg to ask the question, that if we know that emotions are contagious, how do we make sure that we put the right emotions out there? If you want to study impact, look around. Walk down the street and look at the impact that people have on each other. And that's why we're here tonight, because we like the impact that this has on us. So we go looking for it. But when you're walking down the street, there may be people that are nervous or distressed, and they make us uncomfortable, so we walk around them. Or if you noticed a crying baby, right away heads turn, or a kid having a meltdown. But the other side of that is that people laughing will also get your attention. We just heard a big burst of laughter coming from the other room, and it makes you want to laugh, even if you don't know what the joke is. They've been doing work with, I'm fascinated by the work that's being done between the similarities of what is needed to have a happy, healthy child and what services seniors need. Now for children, we bring them to play care, play centers, and play groups so they get to play with other children. But what they're finding is that seniors can feel very, very isolated. And it could be because of the loss of a spouse, it could be because their families moved away, it could be that they're just not participating in the activities they did when they were younger. So there's a lot of isolation. It could be single people could be feeling isolated, it could be seniors, it could be new immigrants coming to the country that feel isolated. They feel isolated. Okay, good. They feel, oh, this is good. They're feeling very isolated. So there's absolutely, from what I'm seeing, is there's absolutely no one, not one single person on the planet that would not benefit from a smile. That's right. They've also found that in communities where there is a high number of immigration and immigrants speaking different languages, people smile more because they have to communicate and they want to build trust. So they do that by smiling. That's the communication. That's how you start to build a relationship, is through that smiling. Leo Buscaglia says, too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. That smile has the potential to turn a life around. So don't underestimate your own impact and what difference you can make. Because just like when you throw a stone in the pond and it hits the shore and it ripples back, it has impact. You can make a really big difference in the world. Now I'm going to leave you with this story. On the very first morning of her retirement, my friend was lying in bed luxuriating as her husband was getting up to go to work. And he said to her, he said, "Aren't you going to get up and have coffee with me?" And she acquiesced. She said, yeah, okay. So she got up and sat across the table from him. And she looked at him, and what she saw was a scowl and a frown on his face. So she picked up her phone, click, and she said, see this? That's what I'm looking at. And if I have to look at that every morning, I'm not getting out of bed. So the two of them burst out laughing, and he turned his frown upside down. So what my challenge is for you tonight is I would like to challenge you all to become the contagion. Let's infect everyone with a smile. Because when you share the smile, you share the zest. And my offer for you tonight is that my publisher, in fact, my editor for my book, said, and I loved her quote so much as she wrote me this kind note and she's in the middle of editing it. She said, I'm really loving your book because it's making me happier as I read it because the content is so uplifting. So if you need a little lift, I'm offering my book tonight for a $5 reduction in cost for just the Women Talks. And so it's $20 tonight. If you're interested in having more zest, but please share the smile, have impact. Thank you.